What's up, guys? Welcome to this video. Celsius Network. I'm going to go over some stories and one really awesome story, basically why all the assets should be looked at in the same container and we should not be distributing any custody or withhold assets before the examiner can do its job. I'm going to cover that story at the end of this video. Real quick, going to talk about Alex is still in charge of the London entity of Celsius Network. I'm going to go over how much each member of the UCC has in Celsius. I'm also going to talk about redacting information. They actually have confirmed, I believe, exactly what information they will be redacting publicly when they release their schedules and statements. And then I'm going to go through Cameron Cruz, his latest Stretto document, his motion, giving a lot of proof and a really good explanation of why all of our assets should still be deemed as our property. This video is sponsored by iTrust Capital. iTrust Capital is where I have my Roth IRA, which I have invested solely in Bitcoin. But what's cool is you can invest in all of these different cryptocurrencies inside of a retirement account. And they just announced Polkadot staking, so you can actually earn staking rewards inside of a tax-deferred retirement account. So what's cool about iTrust Capital is you can trade inside of a Roth IRA and you do not get taxed on capital gains, and also when you retire, you don't pay the IRS 1 cent. You can roll over an existing retirement account, or you can begin a new retirement account like a Roth IRA or a traditional IRA. And last but not least, all of our crypto is stored inside cold storage through Coinbase custody or Fireblocks, so there's no trading, no rehypothecation, and nothing that Voyager or Celsius was doing with our crypto. There is a link below where if you click it and enter your email and create an account, and if you decide to fund that account with $1,000 or more, they're giving you $100 in Bitcoin. And now let's get back to the video. So really quick, I just wanted to touch on this. Alex looks like he is still in charge of the Celsius Network Limited office or entity that's located right here in London, England. So I don't really know what to make of it, but that is something that some people have some concern about still. Next, take a look at a story about everybody in the UCC, how much money they have with Celsius. Now, some people obviously have a ton. You can see Thomas DiFiore here has over 1,000 Bitcoin as loan collateral and over 1.8 million Cell token as loan collateral. But then there are some people that don't have a lot at all. And there was a tweet that Jade put out saying that, why do some people not have a lot of money who are in the UCC? This person just has $225,000. This person $76,000. Mark Robinson just $18,000 on Celsius. There was some miscommunication apparently about in order to be on the UCC, in order to be on this committee, you needed to have a certain amount on the platform. We were told kind of at the beginning that if you didn't have over 100 grand, you wouldn't be on the UCC. But some people are a little bit concerned about this. Like, okay, someone with $18,000 on Celsius, do they really represent us? Now, I believe the UCC wanted several people with different situations. So some people with a little bit on the platform, some people who had a lot in loans, and also people that had custody and earn, and also people that just had earn or just had custody. So I personally don't see a problem with this. So next I want to talk about the debtor sealing motion, essentially what they are going to withhold when they release our information. So here is what is going to happen. They are going to authorize Celsius to redact the addresses and email addresses of individual creditors. So that's good. We don't want our home address and essentially our email address to be released, especially when it shows how much crypto we have. That would be very bad. But they are not going to allow them to redact the names of creditors, email, and physical addresses of business entities that are creditors. So if you are a business, or if there is a business that signed up for an earn account, which a lot of people did, a lot of businesses do have accounts, they are not going to redact any of your information. So if you are a business, just be aware that your email address and the physical address of your business will be shown. So what I do think is going to happen is that they are going to share our names and how much crypto we had in Celsius, or how much US dollar equivalent. I'm not entirely sure exactly, but probably crypto. So if that is you, and if you have a large amount of crypto inside of Celsius, just be prepared that that information may become public. Now, there may be many people with your name, so it may not be something you really have to be concerned about for your safety or whatever, but I believe that is what is going to be happening. They are just not going to share your email address or your home address, but your name and how much crypto you had on the platform will be public. So I want to dive into this that came in today from Cameron Cruz. I want to first read his Twitter recap. So essentially, he establishes grounds that all depositor funds at Celsius are deemed depositor property. And I'll cover that a little bit more as he goes on here. This objection seeks to halt the preferred disbursement of funds to withhold in custody until the examiner completes their investigation to ensure fairness of the outcome for all customers, inclusive of earn and loan. So what he is saying is that, hey, we need to wait until the examiner does their job before we start giving withhold and custody account holders their crypto back first, because he has a lot of proof that says they were all commingled and there really isn't any difference. Here he says, to the extent funds in earn and custody were commingled, customers had their funds exposed to the same underlying risks and therefore would deserve similar considerations in recoveries. He also says that furthermore, Celsius was insolvent and facing a net outflow of customer funds. Outgoing withdrawals were paid for using new customer deposits. So this is kind of what the Vermont filing said as well. And also Chris Ferraro, the new CEO, the ex-CFO, said that they didn't really have all the inflows to cover what they were paying in yield to us. And that's what he is proving here as well. So for a time being, people's weekly payments were being paid through new deposits coming in, which is kind of like a Ponzi, or basically something other than revenue that was being generated through the ways that we were told Celsius generated revenue. Here he says, while Celsius was insolvent and paying out withdrawals, they had necessarily lost a portion of outgoing customer funds and therefore filled the gap by misappropriating incoming customer funds. So again, what do they do when new customers put in funds? Where did it go? What account? And were those funds just being used to basically pay out other people who wanted to withdraw? He talks about the earned customers continuing to receive fake yield into their account for 5 weeks after Celsius paused withdrawals. But here's why they did that, he said. Celsius did not have the money to fulfill these rewards, but continued the charade to prevent earn accounts from becoming de facto custody accounts. Then they talk about when they switched the terms of service to we give title of our coins to Celsius and how they snuck that in 2021. He then says transfer of title essentially is what we did in 2021 when they went from you own your coins to, hey, Celsius now has title of your coins. He says the transfer of title of digital assets would have triggered a tax disposable event, which would have defeated the purpose of using a platform like Celsius. Meanwhile, Celsius assured customers the platform enabled deferral of taxes and issued 1099 forms. So regarding taxes, it says Celsius will have to explain how simultaneously they were able to take possession of depositor funds and avoid this transfer of title from triggering a taxable event for depositors. And more regarding taxes, it says Celsius was clear with the customers and the IRS from the inception of this product that coins were property of customers. Their marketing, behavior, oral representations to customers all affirm this, and they've reported earned rewards as interest payments on customers' 1099 forms. And now he says they want to claim ownership of our assets in bankruptcy with the intent to hold our funds hostage as unwilling venture capital for their rebirth. So what he's talking about is with this Kelvin idea, if that even gets off the ground, probably it won't though, and they may just move our assets over to their new platform, and then they can give us the opportunity if we want to take it off, is what I'm guessing is going to happen. Here, Cameron says Celsius had no license to take ownership of customer funds, and I argue countermanded the title clause in their terms of service through repeated attestations that customer funds remained their own. So not only did we see it on their website, as you can see here, but every single week, essentially, Alex and other executives would say, you know, your funds, you can withdraw at any time, et cetera, et cetera. So that's what he's getting at. So I'm going to go over a little bit of this document that I highlighted. Essentially, he just wants the examiner to investigate if the assets are or are not property of the estate, or if they are our assets, right? He wants the examiner to have the time to investigate before Celsius starts releasing certain assets that belong to certain accounts like custody and withhold. So here again, talking about earn and custody accounts were commingled using the same bank account or using the same, I should say, Ethereum address, and therefore should be entitled to common recoveries. Essentially, there shouldn't be a difference. And he says, regardless if Celsius said that funds were held in custody, customer deposits regularly passed into CNL, which is Celsius Network LLC, and that wallet only earn accounts should have interacted with. So essentially, custody accounts still went to the same wallet that was supposed to just be for earn. Here's saying at a recent interview that the data was being tracked manually on Excel spreadsheets, just showing how inept Celsius was at what they were doing. Here again giving proof that customer withdrawals were funded by new customer deposits. Here he's saying that the source of the yield credited to the earn accounts remains unexplained. Essentially, how were they paying out so many rewards if there was such a large hole in their balance sheet? He really wants the examiner again to look into this before they start dispersing funds. He highlights a quote from Alex that was on April 8th, 2022 on London Real. Alex said, "If we paid $1 billion, that means we made more than $1 billion. We don't take investors' money or somebody else's money and subsidize our payouts. The yield we pay out has been earned, so you can extrapolate from there what are the revenues of Celsius Network." So possibly Celsius paid out withdrawals and yield using new deposits, and the ex-CFO Chris Ferraro again admitted the company had never earned enough revenue to support the yield being paid to investors. And then he gives more proof about after the pause how all of those accounts should have been converted into custody accounts, but that would have hurt Celsius's claim to legal title over those earn assets. So he says that those earn accounts should have been converted to custody and therefore should receive the same treatment in the bankruptcy proceedings. And now really going over the terms of service change. As of September 30th, 2020, in the terms of service, it says, "You hereby represent and warrant to us that any digital asset used by you in connection with your Celsius wallet is owned by you." But then July 2021, he says a single line within the 11,749 word document says, "You will lend your digital assets to Celsius and grant Celsius all rights and title." So this was changed, a single line in an almost 12,000 word document, July of 2021. And Cameron says they did this in 2021 without the informed positive assent of Celsius customers, and this qualifies that as a deceptive business practice. So ultimately, just to sum up, he says, "I ask that the examiner and the UCC adequately resolve the aforementioned concerns about title of customer assets across all categories before any customer withdrawals begin." So I will include this link for you guys in the description. At the end, they go over some other data points as well at the end of this article, and there's a lot of data here. Now, unfortunately, this case is all about who can get their money out first. We have the equity holders that came out last week getting their own counsel saying that, no, we want our money first. And then we have all of these ad hoc groups doing the same thing. So Cameron is arguing on behalf of the 96% of customer funds that are in the earn accounts. I do think that the examiner should examine a lot of the things that he talked about. Now, a lot of these topics have been talked about before in other videos, and I've covered them, but he lays out a lot of reasons, again, why all the accounts are kind of the same, and this whole custody earn thing came kind of out of nowhere, and a lot of proof as to why those were all the same assets anyway. So anyway, guys, that is it for the video. I just wanted to share this with you guys. Until next time, talk with you soon, and bye for now.